it's been an attempt by the police not only to repulse the protesters, but to also try and move a few things around to make the area.
But the situation has actually been the same for the last 2 hours or so. And looking at where we are right now at the railway's bus terminus, we can see police officers still trying to clear a section of the road so that vehicles can pass. But as they clear the road, we see protesters still putting up barricades from the items that had been vandalized earlier, using the stones and boulders to actually block the road, to try and stop the police officers from accessing where they are. And this has been going on from around 10 in the morning up until now. We have seen a few injuries. We have actually ourselves taken a young schoolgirl who was actually going back to school to hospital after she was hit by a tear gas canister. And this has been the situation for the better part of the day. Police officers have been trying, it's been a cat and mouse game. They come in through Moi Avenue, they're chased away, they go back to the bus station terminus, and then it's been a round game between the police officers and the protesters. Kirui.
Naam, Wahiga, mtazamaji atatuia radhi, manake pia tumeweza kuathirika na vitoa machozi ambavyo vinazidi kutupwa ili kutawanya waandamanaji, lakini sasa hivi hali ndivyo hivyo. Maafisa wa polisi wanazidi kuimarishwa ili kuweza kuweza kukabiliana na waandamanaji ambao wanazidi kupasha tu misuli kutoka sehemu za Market Market wakija hapa, na pia wanatokea sehemu pia za railways wanakutania hapa. Kwa hivyo maafisa wa polisi wako kila mahali. Waandamanaji hao wanajaribu tu kwenda katika sehemu za bunge, wanajaribu kuenda sehemu za Moi Avenue, lakini maafisa wa polisi wanazidi kufika hapa kila dakika ili kuweza kukabiliana na hawa waandamanaji. Tutakuacha na picha hizi ambazo zinaendelea ama kila ambacho tunaendelea kushuhudia. Wahiga.
Asante sana Ben Kirui, who is reporting live from Haile Selassie there, just adjacent to the railways roundabout. He was also speaking with Faisal Ahmed, our business reporter there, who had walked over to the just adjacent there, Afia House, and had also reported that the situation between protesters and the police still continues. Some protesters who were emboldened were actually beginning to pull down some of the barriers the police had attempted to erect just to keep them at bay. He spoke of some spotting people who'd been injured. In fact, a Citizen TV crew actually took a schoolgirl to hospital after she was hit by a tear gas canister, and Faisal was one of those who was there and just helped with that as well. And so, a developing situation that our teams continue to attempt to report on, even as they endeavor to keep themselves safe on a day of protests in several parts of the country. Now, what we know so far is this. We know that earlier today, Azimio leaders to call off protests, says the mayhem is bad for the economy and that Kenyans need to go back to work. In fact, he stated that the economy so far has lost 2 billion Kenya shillings so far due to the ongoing mass action demonstrations, calling for people to go back to work and for demonstrators to leave the central business district. The mayhem is bad for the economy. And of course, for the protesters and of course the Azimio leaders leading this, they say that what they're doing is within the Bill of Rights, within Chapter 4 and Article 37 of the Constitution that provides for freedom of peaceful assembly and states that every person has the right peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present a petition to public authorities. Now, earlier today or before the protest, what we are told one of the intentions was to present some demands to State House. As to whether that plan is still on the table, well, we'll have to wait until the Azimio leaders call that press briefing. Earlier on, we had received information that the Azimio leaders are supposed to issue a statement at the Serena Hotel at 2:30 p.m. and thereafter join others at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. As to whether that's still on the cards, we will wait to be updated. But we know that the two minority leaders of both houses had been detained earlier today. Kilifi Senator Stuart Madzayo, together with Ogunja Member of Parliament Opio Wandai, were among leaders that were arrested. This was earlier today as police lobbed tear gas to disperse protesters trying to access the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Why KICC? Because Azimio leader Raila Odinga had urged those who support this protest to assemble at KICC as early as say, and we did see attempts by protesters to make their way towards that particular facility, but they were repulsed by the police that were there. Of course, we know that Kisumu, we've seen similar images, Nairobi, Kitale, which are among some of the regions that are affected by these protests over the high cost of living, and we've seen heavy deployment of these anti-riot police. As you can see, these live images right now as these anti-riot police attempt to clear the streets to make way for traffic for those who want to leave the CBD to be able to do so. Earlier today, we had seen business people trying to open up their businesses, being a working day this Monday, the 20th day of March, 2023. But many of them quickly shut down, barricaded the entrances to their premises because they could sense that it was not going to be an ordinary Monday, and true to word, that is what we have witnessed. Remember, we are witnessing and continue to follow scenes across the country. We now want to quickly take you over to Kisumu County, specifically Kisumu City. Laura Otieno has been giving us updates, but we also have live images. Let's show you what we're seeing at the moment. Otieno, if you can hear me, what's the latest? We had heard earlier that protesters had overpowered police or anti-riot police who are trying to prevent them from accessing the Central Business District. Is that still the case, Laura?
Yes, Wahiga, right now our police have withdrawn their presence from the different places where they were trying to keep the demonstrators from accessing the CBD. In Kisumu here, the demonstration started at around 11 a.m. where it was some sort of a peaceful march from Kondele all the way into town, but then all hell broke loose when the demonstrators tried to access the Kisumu State Lodge. That's where we saw a contingent of police officers led by the Nyanza Regional Police Boss, Karanja Mwiru, sort of like trying to repel the crowd from accessing the Kisumu State Lodge. But of today, we have not seen any leader, any local leader per se, leading the demonstrators in presenting any petition to the county commissioner, as the Azimio leader had mentioned that they would do. But there was a lot of running battles between police and the residents, and they were pushed back about 2 kilometers all the way into the Patel roundabout. And there was a bit of a standoff between the police and the residents. We saw police trying to repel the crowd, but then the crowd, which was swelling from 3 sides, pelting the police with stones. Some of them were carrying slings, and we've seen about 7 people who are arrested and bundled into police vehicles. 2 police officers were also injured during the back and forth between the police and the rioters. But then at about an hour ago, the police were overpowered. We understand that they ran out of tear gas canisters, and also there was some sort of an interesting situation where police were pelting tear gas on one side to repel the demonstrators, and the rioters were throwing the tear gas canisters back at the police contingent. And therefore, that sort of situation lasted for about 20 minutes, and we saw all police vehicles withdrawing back into the Kisumu Central Police Station, where the Nyanza Regional Police Boss is expected to give them further command. Right now, where we are is the Central Business District. Usually, it's a busy place on Monday, but the area has been largely quiet for the better part of the day because some demonstrators actually looted a few shops within the different areas, and the business community had indicated that it was not very confident with operating their businesses at this time. We will speak to the police later on to find out if the people who are arrested, what they'll be charged with, whether it's causing disturbance or really it would be charges of looting, because some of the business establishments that have been looted have indicated that they'll be filing an official complaint to the relevant authorities. So right now we are at the CBD, relative calm. In places like the main Kisumu bus park, there's still crowds that are forming over that place. And as it stands right now, Wahiga, the crowds have already barricaded the road leading into Kondele. Therefore, no vehicle can pass from the CBD into Kondele or from Kondele and into town. So, of course, we will be looking at how people will be moving to different places, because we saw residents trying to move around, some with their vehicles, some on motorbikes, and they had to explain to the police in detail where they were coming from and where they were going, lest they be mistaken for being part of the demonstrators or being part of the rioters. So, of course, we will be waiting to see how the situation unfolds. Right now, the skies seem like they are forming up some dark clouds. It might rain soon. So, of course, we will be keeping an eye on the town to see really what happens in terms of the progression of the demonstrations here in Kisumu, which we can authoritatively report have not been peaceful so far, Wahiga.
Laura, thank you so much for that. I have another question for you, but I also know we need to cross over to Serena to speak to our Chemutai Go-in. But before we do that, Laura, any sense of what the ask of these protesters is? Do they want to present a petition somewhere? Do they want to speak to someone? What are they saying are their demands today, specifically?
Well, yeah, Wahiga, they are echoing the sentiments said by the Azimio leader Raila Odinga. They are saying the cost of living is too high, and they're basically trying to compel the government to swing into action. In terms of really, also they are calling for the scrutiny, the excess scrutiny of the IEBC server, because they say that they still believe that despite the Supreme Court ruling, they believe that that ruling was not in favor of their candidate, and therefore they want Raila to actually see the contents of that server. So those are the main 2 issues that they are speaking about. But then other than that, they say that they are out in solidarity with what Raila Odinga said. So of course we will be seeing how that progresses in the course of the week, because they said they are willing to stay on the streets for as long as the Azimio leader makes that call.
Thank you so much, Laura, for that particular update, reporting live from specifically Kisumu City within Kisumu County, stating that the protests have been anything but peaceful. They've been running battles between police and protesters, and at some point the police had actually pushed back the protesters 2 kilometers away from the central business district. But for now, she's hinted at the possibility of rain there, which could, cause a change in the tempo of the protest, should that be the case at this moment. Of course, we're also monitoring the situation in Nairobi as well, with our eyes focused on the central business district. Those are the pictures we continue to show you on the left of the screen, and on the right, live images from just outside or within that should be the parking lot of the Serena Hotel, where Azimio MP is expected to issue a statement or to declare or to speak to the press any minute now, and we'll be speaking to our Mutahi go in shortly. Oh, she's ready. Yes, I'm told she's ready. Let's actually get the latest from her. Mutahi, just explain to us what's been happening there over the last 30 minutes. We saw some pictures, a scuffle, police taking away some Azimio leaders, amongst other images that were shown to us. Maybe you can just walk us through what's been happening, Mutahi?
Well, Wahiga, the last time we spoke with our colleagues during the previous bulletins, we were still waiting to hear or see from Azimio leader Raila Odinga. And we are now at the Serena Hotel, outside the Serena Hotel, where the Azimio leader is currently holed up in a meeting that is bringing together Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Roots Party leader George Wajakoya, a host of members of Parliament, members of the National Assembly and the Senate. And we've seen Homa Bay Senator Moses Kajwang, who's also arrived here. And I must say the security here has been tightened, you can see from those pictures. And Wahiga, what you saw earlier, the scuffle that was there was when a section of leaders, particularly some members of the county assembly, some from Kitui, attempted to try to get into the Serena Hotel. They said they wanted to get into the meeting, a meeting that has largely been restricted to a section of those leaders, including some governors that are affiliated to Azimio, and that is when the scuffle ensued. Some were arrested temporarily but have since been released, but we can still see crowds that are milling around here. We've seen a number of security officers that are here. We've seen some of the supporters that have already made their way around here, a few in number though, but security has been bolstered. When we look at even the roads that are the adjacent road to Serena Hotel is Processional Way, and there is a police lorry that is barricading that road, so it is impassable. And even sections of Valley Road have also been barricaded just to try and control the amount of traffic that is coming into this area. And of course, knowing that many people just want to know where is Raila Odinga, what is he going to say. They're scheduled to address us according to an invite that was sent earlier that some Azimio leaders were to address us at 2:30 p.m. Well, it's a few minutes past that, and we are still waiting for that movement. And Wahiga, just look at that security situation along Valley Road. You can see that those are contingents of police officers. We are seeing even the water, the trucks that are normally used to disperse crowds. You can see horses. They've literally deployed whatever level of security they need to secure this area to ensure that for those, I believe, that are planning to picket and head towards State House in Nairobi, that is controlled. But those are the images that are coming from this end. We are waiting to hear from the Azimio leadership to know who are these leaders that will be addressing us, what will be the content of their conversation. And you can see one of the officers is getting a bit angry. We don't know why he's getting agitated by us, but then that is what is transpiring here. But we'll head on towards the entrance of Serena Hotel, where we're waiting to hear from the Azimio leadership, know what their plan is. There was the plan to march from initially what we thought was the plan from the homestead of Azimio leader Raila Odinga, possibly come to the KICC, where they were set to converge. Then from KICC, there was supposed to be a march on to State House. We can see that from the barricades, that is what is trying to be prevented, and we'll be looking forward to hear from the Azimio leadership what they feel about the protests or the demonstration situation so far. We've seen pockets of incidents of, tear gas being lobbed at various leaders, various supporters. There's been reports of injuries, some, of course, which we may not authenticate by now. What is their general position about how the protests have been so far, and possibly what is their next course of action? Because a number of their supporters are anxious. Many Kenyans are anxious. We've seen that many parts that we've traveled to, that we've moved across from Karen all the way here to Serena, that many shops have been closed today. Businesses were on a slow because of the fears of what would have been the ramifications of the mass protests. So Wahiga, we're still literally just pitching tent here, waiting. I must say it is very hard to control the crowd. We still don't know whether we will be granted access to Serena Hotel where the leaders are for the briefing, whether they will come out. And even if they come out to do that address, I don't know how the security situation will be contained, because a number of their supporters have already pitched tent along the road that is leading to Serena Hotel. So of course posing another challenge towards maintaining that security. So Wahigas, for now we will be standing by at the entrance of Serena Hotel to know when we will be getting that brief from the Azimio leadership. Wahiga?
Thanks so much for that comprehensive update. Lots of weighty questions there that we'll be waiting for responses to by the Azimio leadership or whoever is present when that press briefing does take place. We are now 7 minutes late. It was supposed to kick off at 2:30 p.m. And Chemutai reports seeing Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Roots Party leader George Wajakoya, and a section of Azimio MPs, MCAs as well, gathered there. But the plan moving forward still unclear. Different versions of what could happen next, and we're just waiting to verify that for you wherever you're watching us from, and then we'll give you updates, real updates, truthful updates as soon as we get them. But I can now also refer you to the Twitter page of Honorable Raila Odinga, a tweet put out 9 minutes ago, and we'll be projecting that a bit later on. But it says, and I read, "It is of utmost importance that we rein in the runaway high cost of living for the benefit of ordinary citizens of our nation. This issue motivates us and keeps us going. Today is the day for truth and justice. #Date with Destiny." That's posted on the official Twitter account of Azimio leader Raila Odinga about 10 minutes ago. And we'll be looking at other messages by our leaders on a day of protest. Okay, it appears that it's all systems go now at the Serena Hotel. I can see there, that should be Jubilee's Jeremiah Kioni. Amongst us, let's listen in.
Bro, here you end at 20 bandi. So, alafu weka kunja tripod mrembo, uweke space. Na speeches hapo kama speeches nani chemu peleka nani ako na mic? Sawa. Naona sound.
Niombe tusonge nyuma ili tupeane kipaza sauti na kila mmoja apate nafasi. Leta gari nyuma na unipe. Tusalie watulivu kwanza. Leta gari nyuma ili sauti ifike. Lete. Wanahabari tusonge nyuma kidogo. Asante. Tuelekee moja kwa moja.
Right, and those are images, and we apologize for the loss of our signal there. Developing situation. Scenes just outside the Serena Hotel, where the convoy of Azimio leader Raila Odinga attempts to access the Central Business District, or at least that's what they had informed members of the press they were going to do after addressing a press briefing, has been repulsed by the police there, who tear gassed the convoy, the protesters out there, and they have now gone in a different direction altogether. And of course, our teams attempting to keep up with the convoy of Raila Odinga. Just to let you know exactly what's happening, and that is why we are losing some of that picture quality. But what we know so far is that about 18 minutes ago, it was expected that the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, together with others, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Roots Party leader George Ojakoya, and others, would address the press. This is the first time we would have heard from Raila Odinga since he announced that the Monday march will happen. And so it was anticipated that he would answer some of the questions that many are asking as to how far the attempts are to get those talks with the president and with the Kenya Kwanza government, what the exact demands are. 3 had been listed earlier. Are those still the same demands? That is for in regards to looking at, amongst other issues, the cost of living, the constitution, or the current process to bring in new IBC commissioners, amongst others, which were some of the demands that had been placed on the table as talking points for dialogue. But none of these answers will be forthcoming for now because that press briefing did not take place. We can now see the convoy snaking its way now towards Haile Selassie Avenue, if that is the direction they are headed to. But that road has also, there's also a police vehicle there, I believe, a lorry. So I'm not sure whether they will be able to then enter the CBD through that particular road, or they will be asked to move in the other opposite direction towards. Oh, no, actually, they are accessing that road. So they are headed towards the Central Business District. We have been informed that they'll be moving towards KICC to join others, protesters there, because that was the location where Honorable Raila Odinga had asked his supporters to meet at 6 this morning for the begin of that march, with several conditions that they had stipulated would be part of the talking points with the government. One was to open up the IBC servers. 2 was to stop the ongoing recruitment of IBC commissioners, and 3, ensure the cost of living comes down. Now, these demands are a little bit different from the demands that Honorable Raila Odinga had stated in December before the beginning of a series of protests. In December, Honorable Raila Odinga had once spoken of the cost of living, but more specifically spoken towards the cash transfer program, which he felt the government was not, carrying on with. The IBC's Commissioner's recruitment was one of his concerns, or one of Azimio's concerns, the civil service outlook, the Kazim Tani program, and a call to have a people's dialogue set up. And so those were some of the demands tabled by Azimio in December. But right now, as per the last statement made by Honorable Raila Odinga, 3 key demands on the table to ensure that the protesters, step away from the streets. And I mentioned them earlier. Open the IBC servers, stop the ongoing recruitment of the IBC commissioners, and ensure the cost of living comes down. Now, these are images in and around the Central Business District. Here, next to the Greenfield terminal, I believe, is where we can see a police roadblock. Another one just adjacent to the Serena Hotel on the other side. And attempts to access the Central Business District difficult for now. We are told over the last 1 hour or so, some of the protesters within the CBD have also been arrested. That's what our teams are telling us. And we know as well that the press briefing that was initially supposed to happen within the Serena Hotel and then later on outside the Serena Hotel eventually did not take place. Anti-riot police on standby, deployed across the city and in some of the regions where these protests have been going on, in Kisumu, in Migori, in Kitale, that's in Trans Nzoia as well, doing what they can to keep the peace as per their mandate today. There's that anti-riot vehicle specially equipped with the ability to repulse a group of protesters quite easily, and on patrol at the moment around, this should be the Central Business District, just adjacent to KICC, I believe. That is where that vehicle is at this moment. Our teams across the city striving to keep you updated. Earlier on, we had also shown you pictures from the Haile Selassie Avenue Railways terminus. Okay, we take you back now to the convoy carrying Azimio leader Raila Odinga and other leaders as well. This should now be, we're just trying to make out exactly where they are now. They were at Serena a couple of minutes ago. Then Haile Selassie. They should now be on Mombasa. This looks like Mombasa Road. Uhuru Highway, I believe. Uhuru Highway, that's correct. just trying to make sense of those live pictures at the moment. We're not sure where their next destination is and whether they will address the press there. But our teams are following that convoy, and they'll give you those updates immediately. We'll also be talking with our Ayub Abdikadir, who is on standby to speak to us from City Hall. Ayub, what's the latest? What can you see? What can you tell us from where you are?
Well, good afternoon, Wahiga. We are atop City Hall, which is the administrative center for the county government of Nairobi, awaiting for the arrival of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition political party leader. Here is the nerve center of all the activities for the opposition, and it is here that the opposition leader called upon his supporters to meet before they marched to State House, and that was the call that he had for his supporters days before this eventful day happening in the county of Nairobi, and which he said should be a tradition across all the counties. What's at the moment happening is that the road that heads into the Kenyatta International Convention Center has been blocked by police water cannon and trucks that are ferrying police officials who are dispersing supporters of the Azimio leader in an attempt to gather here, and that is their main priority at the moment. And just after the presser that was supposed to be addressed at Serena Hotel, in which the Azimio leader supporters were blocked to access the venue, and the convoy at the moment that is passing an undisclosed road. Here is going to be the what appears to be the point with which the police officials and security agencies are ramping up in terms of heightening the security and not allowing the convergence of the supporters of the Azimio coalition political party leader and his supporters. Earlier on, the members of parliament who are allied to the coalition addressed the presser at Parliament, where the ODM Party Secretary General and Nairobi County Senator Edwin Sifuna and a host of other leaders had accused the police of what they said was turning the protests, which were peaceful according to them, to be violent, and gave the officials a 2-hour ultimatum to release the lawmakers who were arrested and taken to the Directorate of Criminal Headquarters for processing by the other relevant agencies. Therefore, we are camping atop City Hall to get the view, as you are seeing at the moment, of the images and the dead street, may I call City Hall way at the moment, where we expect police and the supporters of the Azimio coalition political party leader Raila Odinga to be here, and they have blocked Parliament Way and the way that also leads from the Supreme Court of Kenya, and that is just to ensure that there is no access to the Kenyatta International Convention Center, which has been the hotbed of drama and standoff between police and lawmakers who are allied to the coalition political party and their supporters early this morning.